Happy Thursday afternoon, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro, going to bring you a tropical update and a look at what the rest of our week is shaping up to be here in Houston. Okay, first things first, the National Hurricane Center dropping the probability of that low that's been riding along the Gulf Coast to become organized and get a name. We're looking at the next name on the list being Dexter, but now we've gone from a 40% chance probability yesterday down to a 30% chance today. And a lot of that has to do with this system scraping land all through its trajectory, moving west, and because of that it's not been able to become organized and it hasn't been able to tap into the warm Gulf waters. So it is stagnant at this point. Still has 30-mile-an-hour winds, hasn't seen a pressure drop, and it is tracking west at 10 miles an hour. It is bringing some healthy downpours to the area, though. Right now, the center of circulation right over New Orleans and the heaviest rain right ahead of that. So the entire coastline is under a flood watch until tomorrow night, just monitoring the rainfall rates and the accumulation over the next 12 to 24 hours. You'll notice right now the rain has cleared New Orleans. It is headed towards Lake Charles, and I'm keeping an eye on the rainfall accumulation so far. Morgan City has seen a big bullseye of rain. Radar indicated 6 inches. That magenta color that I see there is getting closer to 9 inches perhaps. So that's going to be an area that might start to see a little bit of a problem. Notice though, New Orleans has had really manageable rain. This is a total over the last 24 hours. So a good time frame to get rain and get rid of it. So enough time for good drainage. Notice around 3, maybe 3.5 inches so far. An additional 5 inches is going to be possible for Lafayette. I don't think New Orleans is going to see too much more. Maybe an additional 1 to 2 inches is possible. And then we're going to start tracking areas like Lake Charles, pushing into Boma eventually, and then tracking closer towards southeast Texas. That's right, we will get some of that moisture that moves in our direction, though our flood risk is low compared to Louisiana. For today, it's a marginal risk, so that's a level 1 on the 1 to 4 scale. This is for our eastern cities and counties, so this includes a small portion of Polk, it includes a good chunk of Liberty, and Chambers County down to the coastline of Galveston. Notice the threat increases the further east that you go. So into Louisiana, at least a threat level 2, and then a bigger bullseye threat level 3 from Lafayette down to the coastline. That's a moderate risk. So it only goes up to a threat level 4. So 3 out of 4 is pretty substantial. That's why we are definitely keeping an eye on radar throughout the afternoon. And I'm keeping a watch on our camera shots too. Lots of cloud cover for today, so that's that moisture building aloft. Hobby Airport right now 87 degrees. The Galleria cloudy and a little bit hazy, sitting at 85, and clouds building for our coastline too. That's a snapshot of Pleasure Pier in Galveston. Now we're looking at Herman Park. This is from our camera atop Hotel Zaza, looking out towards the Med Center. 87 degrees right now, so the clouds have dropped our temperature down by 5 degrees from this exact same time yesterday. Humidity though hasn't dropped a whole lot, so 87 actually feels like 93. Throughout the afternoon, we are going to warm up. I think we're going to get some peaks of sunshine, and in those peaks, we could potentially at least make it into the low 90s. Some of us might touch the mid 90s. I think the cloud cover is actually pretty thick today, so more likely than not, we top off in the lower 90s. Here's a look at visible satellite imagery. So you'll notice the low over New Orleans and the big convective field stretching all the way into Houston. So this is just cloud cover for us right now. The energy, the moisture still has a couple of hours to get to us. However, I want to show you the spaghetti plots. Now a really big consensus that this low is going to continue to track west and then eventually curve north. Now, it doesn't mean all the energy just lifts up north and we don't get anything. We are certainly going to be scraped by those outer bands, the western fringes, if you will, of that tropical wave. So there are the fringes coming into view by tomorrow morning. That's a snapshot at 7:30. That's when it's going to start to get a little bit messy, slower commute. That's what you have to kind of budget time for, especially if you travel on the East Freeway, the East Tex, East Baytown too. So the refineries are going to have a little bit of a slowdown. We're going to potentially see a slowdown down the Gulf Freeway, and then the moisture gets into the loop in the Beltway by the afternoon, 4 o'clock. So now your commute back home is going to be messy around the I-10 corridor. So going to the Katy area, the Energy Corridor, slowdown, Sugar Land, Richmond, I think you're going to have a slowdown there too. And then coming up 5969, that's where we're going to see some stormy weather. And it doesn't lift completely until very, very late tomorrow. Overnight, we'll see a brief break. And then we're back at it again with more rounds of storms for Saturday afternoon. So the moisture is going to hang out Friday and Saturday. That's the snapshot at 4 o'clock. You'll notice scattered downpours all around Harris County. So that's a day where you are more likely than not going to want to plan for some indoor activities, because a tropical rain is pretty juicy. So we're talking about those big drops, those buckets of rain. It's not a light little, nothing. It's something. As far as accumulation goes, though, I think we're going to be just fine. So all the way through late Friday night, I think most of us wind up with about ½ an inch of rain. With those scattered heavy downpours on Saturday, we could see some localized areas accumulate a little bit more. 1 to 2 inches, that's pretty standard. I think that's going to be a safe bet. A couple spots could see a little bit more, maybe up to 3 inches. And then some areas are just going to get trace amounts of rain. So maybe 1/10 of an inch in Mission Bend, maybe 2/10 for Sugar Land, and then maybe 2 inches for spots like Jersey Village. Remember, around the periphery of Harris County is where some of our short range models are trying to pinpoint as the best spots to see the potential of some heavier downpours. The rain is going to cool off our temperatures a little bit. So that's the good news there. So we go from a high of right around 96 today down to a high of just 88 degrees on our Friday. Friday is going to be really cloudy, and you're going to need your umbrella throughout the afternoon too. So it's going to be a pretty dreary looking day. Saturday, scattered storms are going to be on and off. So it's not going to be rain all day, but when the rain does arrive, it is going to come with some power. It'll have some intensity. And then notice Sunday, we're back to a dry forecast. So it's only going to last us a little while. Then throughout the next week, the common trend is dry and it's hot. Now we're pushing towards the triple digits. High temperatures are going to be in the upper 90s, but with the humidity, it's certainly going to feel pretty hot. Here's another look at live radar right now. So while the majority of the intensity is in Louisiana, I am starting to track, just the lightest reflectivity on radar, literally the lightest. So maybe that means a little sprinkle here and there. If you do get a sprinkle, that's coming in from the tropical wave. But for the most part, it is a really, really quiet day. Notice wind shear is present too as that low tracks here, so that it will continue to break it apart, which is a good thing. It is going to have a good reduction in intensity. And all things considered, it is a great thing that this low has just stayed along the coastline, interacting with land, because had it jumped just a little further south, it would have had a playground of a lot of resources. We're talking about abundant sea surface, potential heat for that wave to have tapped into and get organization. So it's a very good thing that we did not see it develop further. As we go into Saturday, the flood risk remains. However, it's really minimal. I think for us, we've got a couple different things working in our favor. First and foremost, we do have that wind shear. We have a little bit of dust out there, and we have the center of the low actually lifting pretty far north. So that is going to reduce the available potential energy by the time that wave gets to us. Really, It's all about the heat for today. So have a look at your particular neighborhood for high temperatures. You'll be at 98 in Aldine, 98 for Woodgate. If you're in Montrose, you're at 97. I'll widen the view so you could see your neighborhood. If you live in southern Harris County, Alameda, 95. If you live in Seabrook, you're at 89 today. We'll max out in the mid 80s in Galveston, hot and hazy, a little bit cloudy. And then remember, those rain chances are hiking up Friday and Saturday, and that's it. Sunday into next week, we dry up. Look for your next update on the TV side at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Chief Meteorologist David Paul will walk you through what's coming up.